What's up, guys? It is Dr. Seth, and today we're going to talk about why your brace sucks. And it comes down to two fundamental issues. The first being that in this day and age of powerlifting, there have been 10 million bracing strategy videos that all overcomplicate the shit out of a very simple concept that should be bracing. So we are gonna make it very simple for you today. And if we're thinking about what needs to happen during a brace, all that needs to happen is we just need to be contracting a bunch of shit in our torso all against each other so we can have tension all the way around so that nothing moves that doesn't need to be moving during our squat and deadlift. And the easiest way I have found to teach this is to just get lifters to try to breathe low, drop their diaphragm, expand their abdomen in a 360-degree direction, and then we're just going to contract against that expansion. We're trying to flex our abs to pull our ribcage towards the pelvis on the front side. We're gonna try to contract shit on the back side, so we're just compressing everything and packing everything in and just getting stuff as tight as possible so that when it comes time to transfer force to a barbell, this isn't just a bendy straw in the middle of it. And every time I talk about that bracing strategy where we're breathing down first and then contracting against that expansion, I'll have lifters say, but Seth, I like to contract first, then breathe down. The problem I have with that strategy is that your torso diameter will be slightly smaller. You won't be able to push out into your belt as well to get pounds from your belt. And the big thing here is that your torso musculature is going to be stronger than your diaphragm. So if you're contracting this first and then try to drop your diaphragm, you're not going to be able to create as much pressure as you would if you drop diaphragm first and then contract it against that. And the name of the game of bracing is creating as much tension as possible. So by breathing first, then contracting, we will have more tension. Now, the second problem that lifters have, if they're doing that and their brace still sucks, is simply that they're not strong enough to maintain all of that tension through their lift. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get into two exercises that I love to help teach lifters how to brace better and make them stronger so they actually can maintain their brace. Let's get into it. And the first exercise that I like to do to get lifters to improve their strength and their brace quality is a decline sit-up. And the reason I like a decline sit-up so much is because we have this bench behind us that we can use for feedback. So when we're in the bottom here, what I want lifters to do is, again, we're gonna have that breathe down, we're gonna have that contract against it, and as we're contracting against it, we're gonna try to drive our low back into the pad like we are doing a dead bug. From this position with the low back driven into the pad, we're going to try to lead with the rib cage, curl ourselves up to the top, and then we're gonna do reps, making sure that at the bottom every time, we're squeezing our glutes, we're breathing down, we're contracting hard, driving into the pad, curling up. And when that gets easy, these are very easy to load just by holding the kettlebell, holding the dumbbell, holding the plate up high. We're still gonna be doing the same thing. We're at the bottom, we're contracting glutes, we're breathing down, we're pushing the pad, we're leading with rib cage. And then once we can load these, we can just push them very hard, make them very strong, and the stronger these get, the more solid your torso will feel under the squat bar, the more solid your torso is going to feel on a deadlift. And a progression up from that decline sit-up is gonna be a GHR sit-up. The reason that this is a progression is because we don't have a pad on the bottom to play off of, so we need to be more critical with our control of our ribcage and our control of our pelvis. In the bottom here, we're gonna make sure we're squeezing our glutes so we're getting to full hip extension. We're then going to, again, breathe down, contract, try to push our low back down like we would have if we had the pad. Then we're gonna lead by curling our ribcage up. Every rep we do, we need to make sure that we're getting to that full hip extension. We need to make sure that we're locking in. We need to make sure we're curling the ribcage first, and that is gonna make our torso very strong. And once you get good enough at these at body weight, you can again load them with a dumbbell or kettlebell. Again, you don't wanna start insane, you don't wanna start crazy, because with these not having a bottom end, if you go too heavy, the consequences can be a little bit more dire than decline, but same thing applies. We're trying to contract glutes, get full extension, lead with rib cage, and pull up. And once again, the stronger we get at those, the more solid we're gonna be underneath that squat bar and underneath that deadlift bar, or on top of the deadlift bar, because if you're underneath the deadlift bar, you really screwed up. So guys, moral of the story is that if your brace sucks, yes, make sure that your strategy is in check, but if just obsessing over strategy isn't making any difference, start exploring strengthening your bracing musculature. Start exploring strengthening, pulling ribcage towards the pelvis, because if you get that stronger, your brace will become more intuitive and you will be able to better resist the forces necessary to be in control and be stable underneath that squat bar. So guys, thank you so much for watching this. Please like, share, comment, tell your friends that this video didn't suck. Peace out. Have a good rest of your night.